Just want to go over some basic thoughts on the upcoming final exam here for everybody to be aware of. First thought is that this covers 10% of your total grade for the year. So if you take all your marking periods, those each make up 20%. The midterm was 10 and the final is 10. So that means it's roughly, it's a half of a marking period grade when we go to do the final average. It will cover the second half of the year, but it's in broad topics, so nothing tricky. It's not as detailed as a unit test would be. Your review materials are really helpful to you, though, so you want to make sure you complete every single problem before the exam, and also check all answers before you take the exam so that you have the best review possible. All right, the entire exam is multiple choice. All your answers have to go on your bubble sheet. If there are problems that you need to work out using a calculator, using equation solving, whatever it may be, you can show any work you want in the exam packet, but then what's on the bubble sheet is what gets graded. So you have to be careful with the transfer. We don't want to leave any answers on the packet alone that don't make it to the bubble sheet. If you skip a problem, you have to make sure you skip it on the bubble sheet too. So really strongly recommend you do the whole test on your test packet first, and then go back and transfer the answers so that you don't make a mistake in that part. All right, there's not going to be any extra time provided. You're going to get 1 hour and 45 minutes, unless you're taking it in class, which financial algebra will be. Those students will get 2 class periods to do it, but most of you are taking your exam during an exam period. You get 1 hour and 45. You have to budget your time. The test is going to be collected and graded as it is when the time expires. So you need to look at the clock several times. When you get to 30 minutes left, you got to make sure you speed up and answer every question. It's better to have one answered than blank. So keep a good pace. We don't want to get hung up on any one problem. If you are stuck on something, circle it and move on. Just don't get stuck on any one problem. If you have been given extra time throughout the year because you have an IEP or a 504, you'll still get your extra time. But this is for generally speaking, you're not going to have anything beyond the 1 hour and 45 minutes. You really have to budget your time well. Consider reading the entire test immediately upon receiving it so that you can form a plan. If you go through all the pages, you might pick out a couple problems you know are going to take you a while. So that way you know that that's coming up. It's just a good idea to have an overview before you start working. I think it's better to get several problems done after skipping one than to spend 5 to 10 minutes on one problem. You know, you could have a whole bank of problems at the end that you never get to even see if you get stuck on just one. So I'd rather see you skip one, get a whole bunch done, and then come back to the last one. Maybe if you don't get to that one, that's okay. It's only one problem. But if you miss a whole bunch as a result, that's not going to work out. All right, this one's important. You have to have your own calculator before the exam. So if you've been borrowing one from me, it isn't going to work. There simply are not enough calculators to go around. All the math students are taking their math exam at the same time, so you really have to have your own calculator. Do everything in your power to have a calculator in school that day. If you use a graphing calculator, please make sure it's charged. That's going to be a problem if it dies on you. There's not going to be another one that you can get. And some of these problems absolutely require a calculator, so you must bring a functioning calculator to class, to that testing room. All right. There also, you want to have several pencils with good erasers with you. If one breaks, you don't want to be getting up to sharpen your pencil. I mean, it's going to be allowed, but it's just kind of a hassle to do that. So just be prepared. Think about what you need and come to the exam prepared. If I have allowed you to use a note card, make sure you come with a note card. If I've allowed you to use a single sheet, whatever it is, make sure you're prepared in advance. You don't want to be running around trying to think about things at the last minute. Please report to the exam room on time. If you are late, the door's going to be locked. You're not going to be allowed in. So do what you can. I think it's preferable to be there 20 minutes before your arrival time than it is to walk in the minute before. If you have to waste 20 minutes waiting for the exam, at least you can relax. At least you can think about what's coming up. You can just get yourself acclimated to the setting, all of that. But if you are rushing at the last minute, you're going to be stressed out. Not to mention you could be late. So do your best to get there early. Everything's going to be collected, electronic devices, your cell phones, your watches, your earbuds. None of that is going to be even in your backpack. It's going to be collected. It's going to be put in a caddy or on a table or wherever. So if you don't want it collected, don't bring it. but you're not going to get to keep it on your person or in your backpack. So just know that going in. You are going to have to work on your own. So obviously it's not collaborative. That should be assumed. But what I mean by this is there's not going to be a teacher there to answer any of your questions. All there's going to be is a proctor. They're going to hand out the test, they're going to read you directions, and that's it. So you need to be prepared to answer all the different types of questions that are on the review sheet. Everything should be clear, but if it's not, you're going to have to figure it out yourself. You're going to have to decipher it and do the best you can. So we're looking for a little bit of independence here. All right, so hopefully this gives you an overview of what's coming up. I wish you the best of luck. You've worked really hard all year. This is, again, only covering the second half of the year, but let this be a reflection of all the hard work you've done over the whole year and this last week of school where you've been reviewing for this exam.